Hello, Sammy. Hi.
Hi,
Uh,
this is
so
our first kind of like video, so I'm very excited. How about you?
yes, I'm also very excited and hope that we. I hope really that we can make some content that is useful
Yes,
for our audience.
yes.
So
So today we're going to talk about AWS Authorized Instructor Program, also known as AAI. And also for that program, we have something called the ICA, which is the Instructor Candidate I think it's authorization or approval process. So many people actually ping me and also ping you and ask, what is this program? How do I get it? And what are the things I'm going to look for? So maybe you can give a quick summary. What is AAI?
okay, so yes, our video is more suitable for the people who are interested in the AI program, or the full name is called AWS Authorized Instructor Program, which means that you can become a teacher, and AWS will offer you some learning materials, and you can organize a course and show what you have prepared or you have learned to the audience or to the AWS customers.
Nice. So now we know about that, and most people say, so what's ICA? Maybe I can tell a little bit. So in order to deliver the content, AWS want to make sure you are knowledgeable, you able to present the information to the student because they are paying for the class. More important is not you deliver the message, it's they receive the message. So they can be a good cloud engineer, solution architect, DevOps engineer. So that's why they have this very intense ICA workshop, we call it. Which, how intense? I just say that 3 days delivery, worse than the any exam you take, because it's 3 days. And also, we have to prepare for it. So, people that maybe WeiBo, you can tell us how you actually get into this program, how it happened.
Yeah, for me, I have go to the AWS AI website, and there is a very detailed description about how to become a AI, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to have a also a training partner, and which you can um, nominate you as a AI candidate, and you will have the get the materials, prepare for these materials, and um, pass the exam for the instructors. And after you
Mm-hmm.
have make it well done in this exam, you are able to deliver more AWS courses, and then you can also study some more advanced topics and deliver more advanced AWS courses. And so it will be a little bit hard process. And
Mm-hmm.
Sami, I would like to ask you, who would you think that are suitable for this AI program?
Number one, you need to teach. You need to love mentoring people, and you need to be understand how AWS work. Do not think it's just a job. You're going to get a book or presentation PowerPoint and send to others. You will have very unhappy customer, which means the students. And to add on the top, this is wonderful for people not just want to present the material, but also constantly learning. One of the benefits joining AAI is you have access to the teaching material. You have access to some new services coming in. They are not released to the public, but you have firsthand get to those. So for people who want to learn more about cloud computing on AWS, this is perfect. And add a little bit about how I get into the program. I was start a program. I wasn't thinking about teaching, but I like to share. I like to mentoring. So one of the teaching AWS training partner asked me, "Am I interested?" So at that time, I say, "Okay, let me prepare for it." Back then, I already have fully certified on AWS, but to get into the program, you don't need to be like have like 10,000 certs. All you have to do is just AWS Solution Architect Associate cert. That's the minimum requirement because you are presenting the information. You need to be certified on that. But it's highly recommend you know more about it. If you certify more, means you are more knowledgeable. You bring more value to your students. So that's the thing. Now, What is important about this is you have to prepare for the ICA, the Instructor Candidate Authorization Approval. Why is it? This is not an exam. This is basically you in front of the instructor and other candidate, which is basically future instructor. You need to present all the teaching material clearly, good time management to the real student. So that is not basically you read a PowerPoint. You actually do a kind of like dry run. So the ICA need you to be ready. It's almost like you're in front of real paying customer. They have you to deliver the content. Any topic you don't know, you need to be ready before that. So number one, do not underestimate the preparation time. I have to take many exams, and this ICA, I probably spend like almost 3 months preparation time, and I rerun the module. For example, how to do the ECQ. It's not just that I know. I need to present the whole module in 10 minutes with example, with demo, with jokes. Everything needs to be ready. So, WeiBo, how about you? When you prepare ICA, any roadblocks to run into?
Yes, it also take a lot of time for me. It will take about 4 months, I think, when I first get started to prepare for the exam, and after finishing this ICA, and it's a really high demanding, and I prepare every day during these 4 months without any kind of holiday. This sounds like horrible but actually, why is that the case? It is because that in this AWS has a very high standard for the instructors, as Sami has already mentioned about what will you meet during this ICAA. But actually, I would like to go in details and to tell you which kind of challenges that you might meet. So the AWS will first offer you a document which lists what is the criteria of this AI. And during this ICA process, our examiner will fill up this formula, and based on the performance of our presentation. And usually we need to present 2 models with PowerPoint with slides, and we can select one model, and the examiner will select the other model for us. And this will be the first day, and the second day will be the whiteboarding and demo part. And also we select one topic, and the examiner will select another topic for us. As for the third day, it will be the lab troubleshooting, and there will be 7 labs, but it will the 7th lab is a capstone lab, which is a summary of all the previous 6 labs. But in the exam, it will more concentrated on the first 6 labs, that there will be many possible errors that might happen during these labs, and you need to explain what happens with these errors, and how to work around.
And, yes, let me interrupt quickly, because you already delivered 2 classes, I know, and I have delivered a few. I can tell everyone prepare the ICA even worse or even more challenging in real life. Lab is most likely when you get into trouble. So you have to prepare, number one, troubleshooting skills. That is not troubleshooting like how to launch an EC2. You can be other things. Maybe login error, maybe the person have the timeout on their session. So the key word I want to remind everyone is you deliver value to the student. If they cannot get the lab done, explain to them what the lab is going to do, and also control the time. Do not let the whole class waiting for 1 or 2 persons try to get the lab work, and then the whole class suffer. But that skill is more than just deliver ICA, because that's still going to help you if you become a solution architect or like maybe an advisor, like what I was doing. You want to control the time, deliver the value. Always remember at the end, The lab doesn't work, they have a whole week or whole month to do the lab again. If the student don't learn for the whole thing, they will complain. They want the money back. Okay, joking aside, you mentioned about that. So it's intent because, like I say, when you deliver the class, unlike you take an exam, you may have one or two modules, for example, compute module, you are expert. But serverless, you don't know much or even have poorly. You may still clear the exam. ICA, no. Every single module, you need to know what's going on. You need to answer the question more than the teaching material because student usually will ask you. You also need to know how to tell the student, this is a good question, it's out of scope. I will follow up with you and make sure you follow up. But control the time and make sure that the student overall, they get the value from the class. Remember, AAI is training the new students to be the future cloud engineer. It's not just solve one or two problems, but well equipped. So, and any feedback from WeiBo about your take?
Yes, just as Sammy says, that you need to be really familiar with each models, and or to be honest, for each model we need to prepare a demonstration, and how this model works without any slides. And also whiteboarding, can you write on your screen about and explain it when you during your drawing, and also make sure that your handwriting is understandable for the student. And also you need to prepare for the slides, and not just reading the contents from the slides, but try to rephrase your words and explain it in another way. And something that you can make, we need to add in during our conversation is that you need to present the analogies for complicated concepts, and also examples. The examples maybe from AWS use cases or from your personal previous experiences. And also between different topics, you need to like kind of translation sentence, and to make this model present like a story. And
I like that. You mentioned story. Let me interrupt you. It's difficult to get people's attention. Any tips you have find to basically get the attention? No, basically attention to make sure that the audience, the students, still listening. Anything you see it works, or anything it doesn't work, don't try again. Just maybe a handful example you have.
Yes. That's good. That's also a good point. So, what do you think, Sami, during your preparation, what will be the most difficult thing that you have, or difficult challenges that you have encountered?
Okay, yeah, sure. I have been before I was involved in AAI, I have been presenting in front of people during meetings or like customer. Especially these days we do online. People sometimes just disable the video, disable audio. You don't even know whether they exist. You can keep talking, but they are not listening. If they are not listening, what's the point? You want to deliver the message. So I would sometimes ask a question, for example, just say easy to compute. And then I say, oh yeah, just tell me, just answer on the chat room and tell me what's the largest EC2 instance you have been used. And then, for example, then I use that time to sip water. You have to drink. Trust me. You do not want to stop non-stop talking for 8 hours. I lost my voice when I do the first delivery. I forgot to drink. So that time they answer, you drink. You can see the interaction, and then thank the student who actually answer. If you see the pattern, people all using small instances, they say, looks like you guys do lots of small how to say a small workload. Then you can tell a funny story or real life story using some large workload. Or if someone have a large workload, you just ask a follow up question and say, hey, can you enable the audio and tell us what's the challenge when you have this kind of like extra large instances? So that make it more interact, and also that's give you a time to drink and rest. That's one of the experience I had.
That's really a nice point, and I have also the similar feelings. And the most important thing is that the interactions with your audience, and always engage them to ask questions, or and you can tell them, encourage them to write their questions or messages in the chat box, or you can just ask them to unmute themselves and to answer the questions. And sometimes they may ask some questions that is pretty hard to answer. So in this case, you can control your space, like not always present at the same speed. In this time, you need to like drink a water and make sure that you have a cup that is something like this, not a glass. And sometimes, because in a glass you can see how much water is inside of that, and you make sure that you don't let the audience see that.
That's a bad one, because you cannot pretend
sometimes
you're drinking.
You don't have water, but you can also have this kind of
yes. And I also want to share quickly. When you do the introduction, when you say I'm the instructor, tell me a little bit about each student, take good notes. You will see some of them is more seasoned. Some of them may not understand or are good at AWS, but they may be a very seasoned network engineer on premises that they know 30 years of experience. So like WeiBo mentioned, sometimes you go to the question is difficult. You say, oh yeah, how I'm going to do set up Duo direct connect, very complicated. Then you say, hey, say the person is called Peter. Hey, Peter, you have done that thing on-prem. How typically you solve me? Just share a little bit, don't too long, 30 seconds, share. Now you bail yourself out. You let the student talk a little bit. They get engaged. They are happy. The whole students group, they're all excited to know about. And then you control the time. Oh, Peter, that's great sharing. Oh, we have more than 30 seconds. I'd love to hear more. Maybe we can do it later during the end of the class. Let's go back to that. So you don't have to answer all the questions. If you do know the answer, you can direct someone to answer. Oh, EC2 use memory intense. Oh, John, you have do that before. So what the instance type will you pick in that case? And then they say, I think it's more memory, right? Memory usually is called RAM. Ring a bell? Oh, our type is memory intense. So now you present the message with the interaction with the students. They will remember better than you just read from the PowerPoint. There are 5 different types: C for compute, M for generate, and then R for memory. They don't remember. But when you say that, hey, R is RAM, RAM is memory, SQL Server need memory, suck up all the memory. Now the student got the story. They remember the story. It was good for them to either work or good for them to take the exam.
Yes. The most important thing, I think, during this teaching period is building up the trust between the instructor as well as the audience. So if you have some questions that cannot answer immediately, and when you build up this trust, you can refer to someone else and let them to add some information. And it is very important that you remember the name of the audience, so that they will feel that you really pay attention to them. And it is really a useful tip. Remember remember and try your best to pronounce their names correctly. And also, because in every class start, we'll have an introduction about the instructors as well as the audience. So make sure when the audience makes an introduction about themselves, try to note it down. What's their job? What's several useful informations? And this kind of informations can help you to know what's their skillful at and what's their interest, and you can pay more attention to this content that they are more interested into.
Yes, and I want to do a quick interrupt, because right now we're kind of off track a little bit on teaching the actual class, which is great because this is skills you need while you are doing the ICA. So ICA has another thing you can feel comfortable. I call the examiner or the lead instructor. His goal is going to make you be successful, to be an instructor. He do not want to fail you. He wants you to be passed. He do not want to see you again. Got that in mind. However, they want to make sure you are well equipped to present AWS, because when you are AAI, you represent AWS. You cannot make them look bad. Please don't. Don't mention anything, say AWS is not good. You always say AWS is good, why is good, tell the customer, the student why it's good. So you have what they call the pseudo students, which is other instructor candidate. Those are your test students. They will actually help you. And sometimes I actually, when I was in the ICA, I throw some curveball during the ICA. Do not get angry if your teammate throw some curveball, because in real life they will ask you. I can ask, for example, how do I do a PGP encryption WeiBo? And then I also want to figure out what is my exit strategy for dual direct connect on a data center across 2 continents. I get back to you. That's a great question. Now, standard, that's how we do it, using the example you get from the white paper or from the use case. And another thing is, like I mentioned earlier, that helps you to get used to get interrupt. A good class, student interrupt you. Student don't interrupt you. My experience, they may fall asleep because they can maybe have a lunch. They don't even that yet. Is that good? Not good. Tell you why. When you become an AAI, your goal is deliver the content student know. Student know, they give you feedback. The feedback will go back to AWS. AWS get good feedback, they will have you to teach the class again. They are not there, they won't give feedback. They don't get feedback. AWS think you are lousy instructor even though you deliver the message. But the messenger, receiving end is not there. Not messenger, the receiving end, you failed your job. So during ICA, definitely take advantage of your other instructor soon to be. Throw some curveball to them, bail them out, because by bailing them out, you learn how to bail yourself out. Why can I log on to this? They say, that's interesting. Have you tried to disconnect? And usually that's one of the problem. Have you tried this? Oh, it's already like a minute. Let's move on. That practice is good. And I see it like that because they know that you are an instructor, not just deliver the content. You deliver value to the students.
That's correct. And if you have really meet some questions that you think that is also very interesting, and you want to also to investigate, but you are not prepared to answer it immediately, you can just tell the audience that I would write this question to the parking slot, and you can write down the questions and to the papers or to the text. And remember to when you write down, please rephrase the questions that they ask, so that there won't be any misunderstanding. And after this, the day of the training, please remember to investigate the questions, search the answers and best practice, white papers, or any useful resources, and then write some emails back and to answer these questions. And when it is not the last day of the training, you can always go to in the other morning. In the next morning, you can mention, I have already find these questions, and I think this will be very interesting. That I can add some more additional information about yesterday's open questions.
Nice. And in the ICA, we have one section is very kind of scary, but also the most enjoyable, demos. Let me explain why demos is important. And WeiBo, you have done that a few times. You should not just read from the PowerPoint. You should come up with demos customized to your skill set and customized to what you can present to the students, so that they will learn the topic better than just using PowerPoint. And in my past experience, you should prepare more demos than you going to present in the class. So compute. Maybe you have 2-3 different demos you want to do it. Depends on the students. You're going to present one. And yeah, of course, in perfect world, you finish the whole demo, but sometimes things crash, take too long. Be flexible. Things do not finish. If you already have the answer, like another EC2 already spin up to say, this is a result. I don't know why it takes so long. Do not wait. Number 2 is always remember, your demo, if you go too fast, the student don't get it, that is a bad demo. The point is, student remember that. Give you an example how I make demo more interesting. I may tell people you can using CLI command. So I use that. I will say you can use the Cloud Shell. So now I introduce Cloud Shell. I install a CLI. I tell them how I do it. Typically, when the first thing I log on, I will say AWS S3 LS means going to list the bucket. This is going to test whether my credential is correct. And then if they are new to Linux, possible, the students, I say, hey, you can do Control A, go to the beginning of the line. That's just a Linux command. You guys probably already know that. That one, you make it more interesting. You tell them how to do it, and you present. And if you have enough time, do it. But my experience, WeiBo, correct me, I'm wrong. We always do not have enough time. Some PowerPoint, lots of reading, you can summarize. They can read the PowerPoint, but key point you have to say. The demo, you can have silent period, or you can ask people questions during, for example, easy to launch will take 2 minutes. You can ask, so what for you guys, students, and have you spin up a workload that take forever? What's your experience? So now you make that waiting time become an interaction time, and you drink water.
Yeah, that will be a very good, very nice, wonderful point of preparing the demos. From my point of view, or from my personal experience, I will usually prepare one demos for each module. So in total, we have 13 modules, and I will try to show them one demos per module. And why do I do it in that's such a high frequency? It is just because that usually just presenting these slides will kind of boring, and you need to have some more better forms to show, okay, how this is really in the AWS Web Console or CLI or SDK works, and to just show them directly, and also make them like use their company name, for example, as the resource name, and try to simulate a working environment just like they will do in their production environment or in a development environment. And so that they will gather this experience, and they will know how they will how they will build up an architecture, or how they will debug in a certain cases when they finish these courses. And so there will be I have a very challenging question, which is for me is how you prepare for this demos, Sami, or where did you usually get this inspiration, and which kind of instructions or guidance will you follow when you want to build up a well-architected or a content-purposed demos during your preparation?
Sure. Yeah, so since I talk about computer a lot, maybe talk about storage. Using storage, for example. If you are talking about the storage module, number one, you know every inside out, but you need to find a way, such a way that the student, the receiving end, can relate to that. So to do that, hopefully you have hands-on experience. For example, I have a hands-on experience on about the storage of EBS, which is elastic block storage, basically the hard disk. And then I will tell them the story. Hey, don't you know, once upon a point in time, I work with a client. They have like 20 terabyte of this storage sitting there, do nothing. It's actually for backup, and they don't even compress the backup, while the production server is using magnetic disk. And the 20 terabyte of backup storage using SSD. You think it's funny, but it happened. So now people have a story to it's kind of like connect something real life. And another quick example, for example, content delivery network. So say, hey, why you want to have something you use a lot close to you? In my drawer, I have a tiny little screwdriver. So if I need to fix small computer, I use it. Similarly, when you are doing a content delivery network, you use the frequent use files on your edge location, which then you go back to the PowerPoint. Another thing is, do not stuck with the PowerPoint. PowerPoint is guide you, the content you deliver. If you have the whole content, AWS content, you can using your own PowerPoint, own story to present that. You can replace them. That is not saying you have to read everything, but you have to deliver the content equivalent. So one way I can do it using your creativity. You are the artist. You draw the picture. When you create that, you find ownership. You will enjoy the deliverable more than just read the AWS PowerPoint. S3 is object storage, and we have the EBS. Not even the student. I fall asleep. So both you have any other tips?
Uh, yes, I have some personal experience when preparing the demos. Maybe I'm not that so well experienced as Sami, that you can directly have used this kind of services in practice, and you can come up with ideas of how to demo it immediately. But when you are a new instructor and you want to prepare a demo, I can give you several suggestions that I have to do. I do in my case. So usually I will just search first the AWS documentation, and for every services there will always be a kind of pages that will tell you how does this work, and there will be some guidance in not only in the management console, also maybe in the SDK or CLIs, and to show you how you create, delete, modify, and update several kinds of resources. And they will also give you several steps about how to use these kind of services. And I will also search some like the service name, as well as I will write hands-on labs, and I will just search it in Google, or there will be also some AWS workshops that you can use. And later, when you get these informations, you can do these tutorials, and you can when you're really familiar with this kind of services, you can find find out that you can build up your own demos. Like I know this service, I know another service, and there is some connections in between, and I can connect my first demo with the second demo and the third demo, and make them a whole story. And
Yes.
this is also some experience that I learned from other AI in other instructors. And at the end, they will develop their own demos with a very huge architecture, and they will
Mm-hmm.
tell a very interesting story to their customers. And that's will be
Yes, I want
also
to add. Weibo mentioned that AAI is not solo sport. You have a team of instructor love to work with you. Like when I start, I teach. I have a good mentor. Dax was my instructor. I also have other teammate. I call teammate Ted. I also have basically other instructors. So we help each other. We ask what kind of demo you do, and then they are more than happy to present to another AI to see how well you go to the timing. You give them feedback. You have an idea. You create your own. So it's team sport. That's one thing I like about AI because it's more than you just like present a class solo. You actually work with a team. You learn from each other. Anything good, you go. And ding ding, another tips. Once you clear ICA, you will join the AI program. They have the Forge, which is basically each region, they have a team of AI. They share how they do it. It it worth it. You learn from how other people teach. Now, it's not just teach AI. It's not teach AWS. It's how to be a good presenter. That skills more than just AI. So I would say ICA is more than presenter content. You're going to learn to be a good presenter. You need to practice how to project your sound. You can be talking everything in this tone and everyone going to understand what you're talking about and everyone fall asleep. Or you can say, this is how you're going to use an S3. What's S3? Simple storage service. Now, you don't have to be like a broadcaster, but mix and match. Mix with your style. Everyone has different style. Your pacing, that's another thing. Hey, everybody tell me, do you think time is your friend or your enemy when you're doing either ICA or doing the delivery the class to the students?
Time is always a very important topic that we need to always consider. At first, it will be definitely my enemy, because it's very easy to to present more and make it a lot of longer, and so that you don't have enough time for the other contents. But later, when you practice more, and when you finish several courses, you will find that you can get this kind of pace, and you can control this time more in a more elegant way, and then the time will be your friend. And I would like to add some more information related to the demos, because it's very important from my side. So I will give you an example that I prepared for the for the customers, and I also present this form during my ICA, and I get very positive feedbacks. So this architecture is something like I deployed a personal resume website in a S3 bucket, and this is a static website, and I use this CloudFront for the content cache, and also I registered a domain and write the record in the root 53, and I build up this whole website, and I get this web URL, and I send this URL to the students and let them to get access to the to my website, and they will see that how efficient that AWS can build up a very nice, beautiful website. And also I have integrated with some web security measures, like how to prevent the DDoS attacks with Shield, and how to prevent some like the cross-script injection or SQL, the XSS, as well as the SQL injection error. And I will always send this link to the audience and let them to try whether this kind of web security measures works or not. And the customer usually are very excited to try it by themselves, and they find it's really kind of magic, and so that they will have more impression for the services that you present. Okay, so in conclusion, it's very important to make some interactions during the demos, and when you have some addresses like URLs that can be accessible for the all of them, let them try and let them engage into your demos, and this will always have some very positive feedback.
Nice. That's what I like. And so go back to say, hey, AI, you know what's that? Amazon Authorized Instructor, ICA, going to make you become the instructor candidate, going to authorize you to be going to be able to teach the class, to present value to the student. Remember the end game, value. And you actually just be yourself. If you already know the technology, present technology is not a problem. If you know some real life story, or read someone else's story, not necessarily yours, but you say, hey, this is how they're going to solve, for example, this resume S3 static website. I can just copy and paste. Of course, when I say copy and paste with approval from WeiBo, you can present that use case and tell them what's the value. The value is you work as a cloud engineer. You can help your company save money by move your dynamic website, low maintenance cost sitting on S3. That is the value the student have bring back to the organization they work for, and they will recommend you as a good instructor. So you will have another class to teach, and then you can share that to others. So be yourself, but you have to understand the content, well prepare, over prepare, over prepare, control timing. Make sure that you remember to drink. Trust me, you're going to lose your voice. And also find ways to ask students. So, hey, WeiBo, what do you like my answer? You don't have to answer me, but this is some way you can interact with the students so that you make sure they are alive. And also you can adjust. If they feel like the pace is too slow, you can increase the pace. For example, you can talk a little bit faster, but on the keyword, we say S3, you slow that. If you feel the students are very behind, then you're going to summarize the key points. Anything they can read, you can basically let them do later. But the key point, S3 is storage, EC2 is compute, serverless, basically you don't have to do administration. Give them the key concept so that they can grow. They don't have to be like cloud engineer tomorrow and clear the exam tomorrow, but they need to be grow better than the day before they join the class. If you do that part, you already a good instructor. And then AWS want you to teach more students because when they know that, more people will use an AWS. It's big win to the customer, you, and AWS.
Mm-hmm. That's really a nice summary of this several important points. But I have another point that I need to mention, which is related to the whiteboarding. And I also think this will be a very important topic that every instructor need to gather this kind of skills.
Let me interrupt quickly. Why whiteboarding is important? Can you tell me from your experience? The why, not how. Maybe let me start. When you present to the students, just like the old school, you have a blackboard. Now you do the whiteboard. Number one, when people see movement, they register better. There are times your PowerPoint can go down. That's another thing. During ICA, it's very likely you have one module, the tester are going to test you. Now your PowerPoint is gone. You present the whole thing using whiteboard. You need to be able to draw the whole concept in front of the student, like in the real class, the computer down. You just have the whiteboard. You have to present. So that's one. But more than that, let WeiBo you continue.
Yeah, so whiteboarding, just as Sammy says, is a very good way that lets your audience to understand your thinking logic, and you will always start from very easy symbols and to try to extend this into a very complex architecture or complex picture. And during this drawing, you need to make sure that you do not write too slow, or you are, and also make sure that you do not write some words that the audience doesn't understand. So the very important tip is that you can use abbreviations for several services, like the databases, and you will just say RDS and not just their full name. And also for example, the CloudFormation, you will just say the CF. But make sure that there will be some misunderstanding, like CloudFormation and CloudFront, and you still always write the CF. But make sure that when you write these abbreviations, you pronounce these words to the students. Otherwise, you will have some misunderstanding. And try to use different colors when you draw these graphs. Like if you have some important things that need to point it out, make several special symbols, or like red colors, and circle it down. And this is the most important that you need to remember, and something like that. But here is also
Let me add another tip. This is how I do it when I present whiteboarding, because I have experience. So I know what is a good solution, what is a bad solution. So when I do the whiteboard is for good solution. The blackboard, I can use a different color for bad solution. For example, I would say you have going to there using a 10 terabyte of SSD for backup, and your production server using Kubernetes. I make the whole screen is black. So I'm going to draw that using red color and then say this is bad. And then I flip the color to white. I'm going to say that you're using this SSD as your production. And then on your backup, you can actually use maybe just a small one, compress it, and go to S3. So that contrast also get the attention. So that's just another tip that I learned that it may be applicable for you. And also that will, again, get students' attention, and they will understand good, bad, good, bad. That's just how I present.
Mm-hmm. And one important tips that I learned from ACA is, okay, now some instructor will say, now I will do the whiteboarding. I will just draw the graphs that's from the slides. It is okay? Actually not. So you need to find your own way to illustrate this kind of knowledge, and in your own way. And also try to add more information. This will be very important because when you just draw the same graph as the slides do. As the first point, you don't have enough time to draw so many slides, and the second point,
No.
you didn't add any additional information. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to draw something that based on your own understand, or you can refer to other AWS best practice and to draw several the most important knowledge points. For example,
Mm-hmm.
the architectures and also the important features that for certain services. And there will be several software that you can use during the software as well as hardware that you when you do the whiteboarding. So I'm currently use the Surface, and Surface has the writing
Mm-hmm.
functionality. So I would just use this pen to write on my screen. But when you use Mac or other computers that's without this handwriting functionality, make sure that you will make sure that you buy a so-called
Mm-hmm.
a writer or something that you can write
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this
I can add.
writing
I use
iPad or
yeah.
something.
I using Mac, and I basically using Duet. I think it's called Duet. Duet allow you to using any Android or iPad as a secondary screen. I share the same screen, so that way I can actually just look at my iPad or my Android tablet. I just basically present my whole slides by looking at it and draw circles, and so that way I would be able to have better interaction. And like Weibao mentioned about that, when you do whiteboarding, it's not required that you draw the whole thing. If you already have some pre-made picture your own, you can actually present it and then you can draw lines so that you can save you time. Because, for example, you're going to say that how you're going to do authentication for cross account. You after 5 minutes, you're still drawing, and you won't have time to finish the demo. Demo need to be short to the point, deliver the value to the student. Remember, Weibo said you can add content, you can add information, and you should add value. Do not draw everything is not adding value to the student, because if they get lost, the review won't be good. You want them to say, "Oh, I'm excited," and that's when they learn. Because, like I said, you want the student learn. You want them to be the next gen AWS cloud engineer, cloud architect, or project manager.
Yeah, another thing that I want to mention about the whiteboarding is you need to choose the software. And currently, what I use is called the open board, so that you can write on them and present. It is kind of like a PowerPoint, but it is not the same. And and you can also use some online tools like the Draw.io, the Lucidchart, or any whiteboarding tools that you find in the internet. And some of this has some advantage that when you finish this your whiteboarding, you can share it to others and share to your audience. And sometimes when you want to do some pool questions, and you can also let them to draw on the same whiteboard. This would be also a very good option. But the most important thing is that make sure that what you have drawn can be saved, and this will be pretty important. And for example, I use the open board. It could be exported to the PDF, and
Mm-hmm.
or you can also make screenshots and to send them to the customers. Make sure that you save all the results, because there will be some cases as the audience will want. I forgot about. I found this whiteboarding very nice, and I wanted to see it again. It is pretty bad that you didn't save it.
Mm-hmm.
And um, what else that I want to mention is that there will be some services like the uh, like the outposts and the EC2 instance and like the data centers. Some people will be curious about what does it looks like in the physical world. So you might it might be a good idea that you can just prepare some real images of several services. Like I will usually prepare a the image of AWS data centers, and so that they will have a see, okay, how large this data center looks like, and how many servers are located inside of that, and so that they will be more convinced about the AWS global infrastructure. Another examples can be the snowball, snow cone, and also the snow mobile. And usually people just don't really have these kinds of imagination. How large is this devices? And you can just show some physical pictures and show them, for example, how large is this snow mobile, and just make them very impressive. And okay,
Yes,
so this will be the two things that
that's
we
a
can
very
use.
good point.
Mhm.
AWS provide you this another thing. Remember, when you go to ICA, you do not have to prepare the PowerPoint. AWS already have full PowerPoint. They already have, I think it's like almost like 20 hours of training how you present that. They have video recording. You just have for you as an example. If you are good at that, you may actually be able to finish watching that 20 hours and add your own favorite. What WeiBo mentioned about that is you have to think like a student. If they keep looking at the same PowerPoint, which because AWS make them have the same style, it get repetitive, they may fall asleep. But when you throw a picture, this is how outposts look like, get them to have refreshed the memory or get them to get excited. That's the point. But if you throw too many pictures, you have to watch out. Do not confuse them because, like I say, the whole point is you want them to be interact, either mentally interact or even better, physically interact by enable video or chat with you, asking questions. Now, another thing I have to remind most people, even during the live class, keep an eye on the IM, the message, instant message, or the chat. Many times the student don't say they're going to post it. If they wait 10 minutes or 5 minutes, it's too long. You need to be able to do maybe every two, 3 slides, you have to see the chat room. And if you can answer that right away, you do it. If you not, just repeat the question and say, we get to you. And remember to get to that. Because like I say, the instructor, the ICA instructor going to make sure that you pay attention. Just like, think this is not online class. Once you get ICA clear, you can teach online class or in person in front of students. If people ask you a question, you do not do anything for 5 minutes. I don't think your review at the end of the class will be good. So you definitely need to do those interruption. But on the other hand, make sure you deliver the content on time. It's easier to think when you practice. When I do my ICA public web, I'll do it. I clock it. So I say this module, according to recommendations, we're going to spend like 10 minutes to present the whole module. I start the clock, I present a videotape myself. When I'm finished, I look at the time and say, oh, 15 minutes, not good, not good. So then I'm going to find out which area I can either speed up. For example, I don't have to say everything. For example, EBS is the elastic block storage, usually for the disk. Move on. They may have a long paragraph of the explanation. You do not have to read all of them because those are called additional information. Because if you do not have, if you spend 15 minutes on a 10 minutes module, you will not deliver day 3. Your day 3 finish your day 2, and that's one of the biggest challenge. Another pro tip for ICA, time management. You rather present plain old understandable message on time than you present very fancy incomplete message. That's probably one of the reasons you have to do it again. If you fail ICA, don't worry, you just have to do it again. So you have to spend another 3 days. So most people actually got invited to go to ICA. That usually is already good enough. And also you make a call. They give you a month to prepare. If 1 month's not enough, ask them for 2 months. If 2 months not enough, ask them for 3 months, because the last thing is to waste your time and the instructor's time and AWS time. Worse, you wait and you fail, then they do the class again, then new modules, because AWS is like adding new services. So the teaching material is going to change. That's another thing you like or hate about being AAI is your teaching material is not stay the same. Pretty much every quarter they have updates. So you have to learn a new service. Do not tell them you cannot do this unless you know you cannot do this, because you may say already have a new service actually fix that problem. The limit already no longer there. Those reflect your skills as well as going to gain trust, like what WeiBo mentioned. You lose the trust of your student, you lose the class. You don't want that. You want them to trust you. You don't know everything, but you know how to help them to find the answer.
Okay, I would like to summarize our conversations, as we have already talked a long time. So I will say that there will be 2 points that I personally think that's really very important during your ICA or during your course delivery. The first thing is practice. Practice makes perfect. Really the thing. And for each kind of labs, for example, you need to do it at least 5 times. And please write down. This 5 times is not just repeat the instructions and do it sequentially and or do it like a robot. You need to always try with different options, just simulate some errors and to see, okay, which when you select this point, what happens. And this will be very useful, because that the students might have the similar problems. You need to simulate and write down the resources, and make sure that for every lab that you can write this kind of lab notes. That's what will be the common mistakes, and what kind of errors will make, and what will be the solutions. And this will be for the lab. And for the demos, make sure that you present it more at least 3 times, and so that you and make sure that before your presentation always do these demos once again, because it is very embarrassing that you do this demo but it doesn't work, and you waste your time as also the audience time. And for the whiteboardings also, make sure that you have a full already a complete version. And if you cannot have enough time to draw all of these whiteboardings, just show them a complete one. So this can also save your times. Okay, so the first point is practice. Practice more for all of these. How to make the analogies, how to ask them interactions, questions, and even how to make jokes. And all of them, maybe think it's just sometimes on purpose, but at first you need to kind of force yourself to obey this standard, and later you act more naturally and friendly. And the second point I want to mention is just as Sami said, time management is very important, and we need to know that the instructors are the master of this course. So the instructors are responsible to control the course. So for example, when you make a demo, and this demo already contains the content that you want to deliver during the slides. So in this case, you can skip these slides and you say that, okay, we have already covered this knowledge in the demo or in the whiteboard. This will be also a fine solution to save some time. And make sure to let the student to have a rest, and to give them enough time to rest between multiple modules, because 3 days for 30 modules is really hard working, not only for the instructor but also for the audience. Think more in the side of the audience, and you will gain the trust from them, and you will have a more harmony and more engaged
Mhm.
class at the end.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I just add on everything is good. For example, the lab, I also say when you do, for example, you do 5 times, you're going to do a couple things. In my case, number one, when I do the first time, most likely I make mistake, maybe jot down the mistake because those are maybe the same thing the student may make. So when I start the lab, I would say, watch out step 14 and 15. Many times people miss that 2 steps or skip it because they mess up the lab. Sometimes you have to redo the whole lab from the beginning. You cannot just delete the resource you create. So those is something the value added. The number two is, for example, when I do the 5th time, I can do the whole thing in like 20 minutes. 45-minute labs, I can finish 20 minutes. So you can tell that for those eager to please or to say they are superstar students, you say that I have done that a few times. For those very, very good, you can actually finish in 20 minutes. It's doable. So they have a target to aim. So someone going to try that. Someone going to spend all 45 minutes and do the checkpoint, tell them the area to avoid, and then remind them again. For example, make sure you start the lab. Maybe you have to refresh your session because your browser may already time out. You do not want to troubleshoot 5 minutes because they did not hit a refresh. That's number one. And number two, which Weibo mentioned about that, the content, time management. And the way how I do, I have an Excel file on another screen. I'm going to tell me myself when I'm supposed to hit certain point, which page on my PowerPoint. And I also will tell the student, I'm not going to read the whole PowerPoint page by page. I'm going to add some content. Those are different than the PowerPoint. So that they know that if they don't pay attention, you miss some goodie. And I usually just throw some jokes from my past experience. When I say jokes, more like sometimes it's like past bad architecture examples. You may get it from maybe someone's story or your own story. Your own story is more powerful, but if you're not using someone else's story, it's still better. You say that way to deliver the content. People remember the story, remember the content, they remember you, they remember what value AWS add. And now they have an enjoyable class. The ICA, the instructor sees that, and unless you do not know the whole module, hopefully you pass your ICA the first pass.
Okay, so I think now we have already talked about for 1 hour. So I hope you have
Sure.
learned something useful from our conversation. And
Yes.
if you are interested in more topics about the ICAs, please leave your message in the comments. And we
Mm-hmm.
are very pleasure to answer your questions. And if you like,
Yes.
we can also connect with in LinkedIn. And by the way, Sami is really famous in LinkedIn. And he has finished all of the AWS certifications, and he gets this golden jacket, which is kind of my uh, goals in the future. And I also want to get this and learn from him.
Yes, thank you. And like I said, I'm a student. I keep telling people I just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. I learn from another, I call the cloud leaders. So we learn from each other. Right now, we are the ICA. Not ICA, we are the AAI. We want to help those people, help the students to be understand how AWS can help them and their organization. Once you know that, you want to be the next generation of AAI and you want to teach your student be the next generation of AI so that we're more qualified engineer to build this amazing cloud platform. And this is our first recorded video, and then Weibo talk about that. Hey, people ask this question. I'm not going to on LinkedIn reply every single time. Let me just do the video. And I know it's not polished version, so that's lots of room of improvement and looking forward to generate more content. Maybe shorter because this is a little bit longer, 1 hour, but hey, you can always watch it 2 times if you want to. Oh, I just break it into pieces. But I hope this 1 hour session can help you save lots of time for your AAI journey, for your ICA journey, even better for your cloud journey.
Yeah, and by the way, we are also very excited to invite more friends to join in our the AWS tutorial videos. So if you have interest, please contact us. or leave your comments in below. And next time we can also make these videos together.
All right. So nice talking with you virtually. Of course, I would love to give a WeiBo a hug, but he's in Germany. I'm in Austin, Texas, too far away. But one day, if we're going to meet at reInvent or I have a business trip, or I'm pretty sure one day we're going to meet. And same to all the people watching this video. Hopefully, we can meet in person. But if we cannot do it physically, we can do it virtually. And we're definitely going to produce more content to help to make your cloud journey more wonderful, more enjoyable, and enjoy the journey. So we chat again. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a nice journey with AWS learning. See you next time.
Yes. See you. Bye.